Victoria, beautiful one day, like you're in the Antarctic the next. I can promise you it is extremely cold at the top of this hill where I'm standing, but forget about the weather because there are launches of new vehicles, there are highly anticipated launches of new vehicles, and then there's the launch of this vehicle, the new Volkswagen Amarok. To say that Australians have been excited about the launch of this new dual cab is something of an understatement. Now, either side of me, over there you can see the Aventura, this one's the Panamericana. They're right up at the top of the range tree. What we'd like to know from you guys in the comments section below though, is which one do you think will be the pick of the range? Which Amarok would you buy? Because something that's really interesting about the new Amarok is the broad spread of model grades that are available. You've got a petrol 4-cylinder, a diesel 4-cylinder, and then of course a V6 diesel as well, not to mention all the different specification grades across the range. So let us know in the comment section below which one you like the look of, which one you like the pricing of, and which one you would buy. In the meantime, I think it looks fantastic. I think they've nailed the styling really nicely. It doesn't look like a Ford Ranger, and current Amarok owners are telling us that's a critical, important decision for them when they're in the buying process. They don't want this to look like the donor vehicle. I can also tell you, after spending a bit of time with it, it doesn't really feel like the donor vehicle either. So let's get into it. We're on-road, we're off-road. We'll take a look at the cabins in a second and start test driving the all-new Volkswagen Amarok. 20 engineers were shipped from Germany to Australia for over 3 years, and Volkswagen's own team of designers and engineers were involved in the development of the new platform from the outset. So while the powertrain components are the same, they receive a different Volkswagen tune for the Amarok. It's the same case for the suspension and steering, and the interior is also unique for Volkswagen. New Amarok is attractive too, cutting a stylish figure on the road, and there's no chance of it being mistaken for any other brand of dual cab out on the open road. While the robust styling of the outgoing Amarok is likely to retain its own network of fans, Volkswagen's design team has done an excellent job with this new package. On the road, the new Amarok retains all the strong points already on display, having tested the Ranger. Amarok is as quiet and refined as we'd expect from a Volkswagen, and the pick of the range at launch remains the V6 diesel engine. With 5 model grades and 4 engines to choose from though, there's a lot to like about the new Amarok on paper. While we'd need to test them back to back, I suspect the new Amarok rides more comfortably and with better control than the old model. We spent most time at launch in the Panamericana TDI 600. It gets the 3-litre turbo diesel V6 under the bonnet with a 10-speed auto and 4-wheel drive, and pricing starts from $75,990 before on-road costs. The V6 is a solid engine churning out 184 kilowatts and 600 newton metres, with a claimed fuel use figure on the combined cycle of 8.4 litres per 100 kilometres in Panamericana guise. Our real-world figure at launch was an impressive 9.3 litres per 100 kilometres, with plenty of country touring on the loop. When you get inside the Amarok cabin, the key is that it feels like a Volkswagen, and I think here inside the cabin, that's going to be the biggest area that current Amarok owners are going to take a look at. Now, one thing I do have to say is if you do that, that doesn't close like the old Amarok. It still closes like a Ford Ranger. Not a big deal, but it's a factor. However, throughout the rest of the cabin here, Volkswagen steering wheel, the stitching across the dashboard into the door panels, the trim that Volkswagen has chosen is really good. And the other factor as well, which was one of the benefits of having the design team out here for the launch of this vehicle, is that they explained to us that even the density of the foam in the seat padding is different from a Ford Ranger. So these do feel like Volkswagen seats, which is crucial, I think, because even at the end of its life cycle, when it was 12 or 13 years old, seat comfort, seating position, Volkswagen Amarok was still class leading against much newer dual cabs. So I think the work that they've done with the seats might not sound like a lot if you're watching this, but it is a big deal to current Amarok owners who would have expected it. Space, storage, visibility, all the things that you value when you're on or off-road are all very strong. Second row space is also really good. So if you're buying this more as an around-town family vehicle, it's going to work really well there too. Now let's get it out on the road and do a bit of driving. We've come to expect that the Amarok is going to be proficient on-road, because that's what the old model was so good at doing. And I can tell you, having driven this new one now on road, it's impressive. It does the job, it does it very well, and it feels really sure-footed, for want of a better term, even on slippery roads, because we've been driving on some that are quite wet. There's been a bit of rain out here in this part of Victoria while we've been testing, and the Amarok feels really good on any road surface. Now we're driving off-road, we're in a Panamericana, and again, on slippery dirt, loose gravel, patchy sort of road surfaces, this is really quite good. I think an area that existing Amarok customers will come into this new vehicle with a high expectation is cabin refinement, luxury, and that premium feeling that you get when you sit inside the cabin of a Volkswagen. Now, VW engineers and designers will tell you that this isn't supposed to be a luxury vehicle. It's deliberately aimed at being a rugged off-road dual cab. But I think it's fair to say that if you buy an Amarok, you're still going to expect a sense of premium, and that does translate to the drive experience even when you're off-road on a rutted gravel road like we are now. It's quiet, there's no rattles, no shakes, no silly noises, you don't get a lot of wind noise. It's very windy outside, there's not a lot of wind noise coming in, there's not a lot of tyre noise coming off these dirt roads either, and the ride is very comfortable. That's the other factor that I think is worth noting about the new Amarok. The way the ride has been ironed out on these kinds of roads is certainly a step up from the old model. Now, on that point, I'm really looking forward to test driving this back to back with the vehicle on which it's based, because the subtle changes that Volkswagen might have made to the suspension package is going to be very hard for you to just get a feel for when you just get in this vehicle and drive it. But if you drive it back to back with the vehicle on which it's based, you'll be able to get a much better understanding of how it behaves compared to the other vehicle. All in all though, really impressive four-wheel drive. It's good in proper four-wheel drive situations too, which we would expect given the Ranger is very good. But this type of stuff that a lot of dual cab drivers do, which is regular dirt roads, state forest tracks, camping, and what we would call mild off-roading, the Amarok is particularly impressive. I think the other factor that's worth noting is the way the drivetrain behaves. So you've got a V6 turbo diesel up front, you've got a 10-speed automatic gearbox. This is never going to feel quite the same as the old Volkswagen Amarok V6 and 8-speed automatic, but it's an impressive combination that works well at just about any speed, whether you're on road or off. And the other system that I think should come in for mention is the steering. I think Volkswagen's done an excellent job with the way the steering feels for you as the driver, because when you get in the cabin, you sit down, the two things you notice are obviously the steering wheel and the seat, and then your interaction with the steering, with what the front of the Amarok is doing, is your touch point effectively to what the car is doing and what it's doing under the skin while you're driving it. So I think Volkswagen's done an excellent job on that. And I think I'm really looking forward, to be honest, to doing some more extensive long-distance touring testing and towing with this new Amarok to see how it stacks up there as well. Now, I know you're going to be asking us, what's it like against a Toyota Hilux, a Ford Ranger, surprise, surprise, what's it like against an Isuzu D-Max? And we will get to all of that testing, that comparison testing, over the coming weeks and months. But on face value, and having driven it now for the first time, the new Amarok is an impressive dual cab. I think the touches that Volkswagen have added to this vehicle have really made it feel like an Amarok in some crucial areas. What I'm looking forward to, though, more than just testing it against those new four-wheel drives, is testing it against an old Amarok, because it's when you put old against new, you start to see how much that development has pulled the new vehicle forward. So we'll do that in the coming months as well. In the meantime, if there's anything specific that you want to know about the Volkswagen Amarok, let us know in the comments section below, and we will endeavour to answer those questions for you as we do more testing over the coming months. As always, if you've enjoyed the video, hit like. Don't forget to click on subscribe so you stay up to date with all of our latest video content and the review of the new Volkswagen Amarok, all the other dual cabs. That's over at Drive.com.au. And I'm going to get straight in this car and out of this freezing cold wind.